Y'all got me up here. It's midnight. It's midnight. Can you believe like that? That to me is crazy. The fact that we are having this conversation and it is midnight is wild. I'm having a moment. It's midnight, okay? It's midnight. Y'all have me up watching this TV show. I don't even want to watch it anymore. I don't even want to watch it anymore. But I'm here and I'm doing it. So you know what? Let's just get into it. If rest is something you're learning, not mastering, Pure Tifa Cafe was made for you. Books by indie authors, hand blended teas, candles, and rituals you can take home with you. It's a bookstore, a holistic self care space built for soft moments and real life. Visit puretifa.com to shop now and use code UNBOTHERED at checkout to receive 10% off. Pure Tifa Cafe. Take the cafe home. Hey, Unbothered fans. You are late night with me, Gabby, Blake, whatever you want to call me, whatever makes you guys feel better at night. We're together. We're doing this. I'm fucking exhausted. I've had a really exhausting week. I don't know if other people go through this, but some weeks for me are just there's too much emotions going on. There's too many things that I'm trying to figure out. And at the beginning of this year, it already feels weird not having my best friend be here. Like that feels really weird for me. Not having my best friend, not being able to, talk to her, to speak with her, to just be with her kind of like I wanted to. That feels weird for me. And as I continue to grow, as my businesses continue to grow, it feels weird not doing that. And this is the first year. This is the first year that I'm going to start and end without her being here. And like that sucks. Trigger warning, but if you are a person who lost their best friend or lost a family member or lost someone to suicide, it just doesn't end. And it affects every part of your being. You're super hyper vigilant. You're super conscious all the time. You're always thinking and wondering, and there's a loneliness to it. And for me, since I have significant abandonment issues, there's a lot of problems that are deep rooted and that sit inside of me. And that was only magnified by me losing other friendships during this process, losing my best friend, and then me and my cousin just not being in a good place. And that, honestly, I haven't spoke about it, and I haven't spoke about it because I don't want to talk ill about anybody. Like I don't want to talk shit about somebody that I care about. I don't want to dog them. I don't want to do anything like that. That's not who I am as a person. But at the same time, some of the things that transpired between her and I were just not okay on both sides. But for me, knowing that some of the things that were said and some of the things that were done, and they were done while I was grieving, while I was trying to figure out everything with my best friend, like that part just, I don't know, guys, that part is just, it just doesn't sit right with me. And I know a lot of people are going to have their own feelings and their own things to say about it. But for me, that was really hard. And it's still really hard, because you lose one person. And for me, I get very anxious. I get very protective. I get very protective of myself, of my energy, of who I want to give it to. feels like I'm clearing out my throat chakra. I'm giving just exactly what it feels like. I've been so quiet about the hurt that I've experienced from a lot of people because I don't ever want it to be perceived as I'm talking shit about them, because I'm not. But when I'm quiet, it also means that I'm quiet about my own experiences, and I don't get to say how I'm feeling or what's going on. And the treatment that I felt that I should have received from friends during the grieving process of my best friend, someone who was a sister to me, was not it. So many people almost looked for reasons to back out. And I don't know if it was because I made them feel uncomfortable. I know that I'm not perfect. I know that I make mistakes, but things that I'm learning through therapy is like, you can make mistakes. You don't have to have this fear like if you make a mistake that all of a sudden the people that you care about are going to disappear from you. But that was something that consistently was happening in my life, and that was not something that I wanted to continue. And so the choices that I made were the choices that I had to make to protect myself. And in the end, it resulted with me feeling like something was wrong with me again, like I wasn't good enough for some reason. Because if I was good enough, why wouldn't these people stay? If I was good enough, why would these people be treating me this way? And if I was good enough, why wouldn't my best friend still be here? And, some of you may say, well, that's not fair to put that on all situations. And you're right. It's not fair for me to put that on all situations. But at the same time, it also wasn't fair for people who promised to be there for me, promised that, they have my back when everything is dark, when everything is scary, when everything is tough, they would stand by me and then just leave. And for some of it to just leave and take family with them or people who I felt like were family with them, it has made me feel very lonely. And it has made it really hard for me to trust other people. It has made it really hard for me to believe in people again. And it's made it hard for me to just even trust myself. And you have to be able to trust yourself more than anything else. You have to be able to trust your existence and your experience and everything like that. For me, that all came together when we had like our party, our holiday party at work, and they gave out like awards, and I got something that someone had been using to make me feel bad about myself and make me feel bad about my choices or judge me because I don't behave the way that they would behave or that they would expect or they think is valued. And it's been a lot of criticism on me. There's been a lot of criticism on me. There's been a lot of pressure, and it all kind of came to head yesterday when I was at work, and I just stopped talking for the most part. I didn't want to say anything anymore. I didn't know who I could trust, who I could say, what my feelings are, who was going to stay. That's so hard. That's so hard because I just don't know who's going to stay anymore. Because the people that, if you would have asked me last year, that I would have told you had my back, would be here no matter what, if they would leave me, I would look at you like you're crazy. And I've experienced a lot of people standing by me, but I've also experienced some of my core people leaving. And that has been really devastating to my psyche. And it's making me have to rewire and rework on things that I thought I had fixed because it's triggering a lot of things for me. So I've had a crazy week, but you guys still got me out here past midnight, past my bedtime, no makeup, me, hair in a bun, whatever. We're gonna talk about some topics and get off the heavy stuff real quick because I don't like to stay on heavy stuff for long. Call it the Sagittarius in me. I don't really care. But we're gonna start into some topics. First, have I finished a book? No. I'm almost done reading a book. It'll definitely get talked about more on my other podcast, which is the Indie Ink podcast, because that book was for that podcast. So I am excited about that. And then once I can finish, and the book's like 167 pages. If I wasn't so tired, I might even just finish it tonight, just like bang it out and be like done. Um, but I have that going on, and then I'm also still reading the Book of Magic, which is the second book to Practical Magic. And I am audiobooking The Anatomy of Evil. And I love true crime. I love true crime. I love true crime. I love true crime. And I love forensic psychology and understanding behavioral psychology, understanding why people do the things that they do. And that's probably, if I were to psychoanalyze myself, me being a control freak so that I could be more aware and be more hyper vigilant to make sure that people can't do it to me. But regardless, I'm doing it. Look at all of these poking out at the back. If Lord knows that I can never put my hair in a bun. That's what I got in trouble a lot for in the military, never being able to put my hair in a proper bun. We can't do it today. Look, what is this? Why are you sticking out? But for the record, putting locks in a bun, hard. Hard, hard, hard. So I don't have any of those things. I do really want to watch His and Hers. The problem is that I found out that it was a book. And my rule is that if it's a book, I have to read the book before I watch the TV show or the movie. That only extends if I knew it was a book first. If I didn't know it was a book first, then obviously I have no control over that. But so I was going to watch His and Hers, and then I found out that it was a book. And now I'm like, "Mm, I gotta read it first." So I promise to cover it soon. It's coming. I've just been watching reruns of Private Practice. You guys, reruns are an anxious, neurodivergent girlie's like bread and butter. When the world is so chaotic, you will find me cocooning, burritoing in my bed. With with a rerun of a TV show because I know it's gonna happen. I know it's gonna happen and I know it's gonna be good. And so I'm just gonna live in that moment. So I am rewatching Private Practice. If you guys have never seen Private Practice, it is a spin-off of Grey's Anatomy. So it is when Addison leaves Seattle and moves to California and joins this private practice. And it's a little bit more witty, it's a little bit more dark, it's a little bit more commentary onto what's going on in the world and some taboo subjects they like to tackle a lot of. My glasses are hurting me. That they like to tackle a lot of. But it's just a really good show. And I'm at the point where Amelia is struggling. And I've been waiting to get to this point. I had to survive. I had to survive a lot to get to this point. And this point lets me know that I'm close to the end. And it's taken me a lot longer to binge this. It wouldn't have taken me this long to binge it in the past. It's taken me this long to binge it now simply because I have a life. I'm doing 17,000 things a day. And so I don't have time. I wanna have time. I really do. I don't have time. Today, I think I watched an episode. I woke up, I did my morning yoga, I played with my dogs, I got ready, I journaled, I did some other things that I needed to do, and then by that time that was done, I read. By that time when that was done, it was like, "Okay, you gotta get up, you gotta start making these food, you gotta start getting this ready, you gotta get out the door because you gotta go into the office today, and then you gotta go to Pilates, and then you gotta come back to the office to go to the book club, and then you gotta stay at the office to work on this, and then you gotta go to your mom's house, and you're gonna stay there tonight, and you gotta wash clothes. Clothes gotta get washed. There's just so much. So I don't have as much time. And then I had to watch Traders. And let me tell you guys, I don't want to do it anymore. Honestly, I do not want to do it anymore. But at the same time, I told you I was going to do it. So I'm making it through. Traders is not my reality TV show. It's just not. It's stupid. But we'll get back to that. Our pop culture topics. I've stayed away from talking about Blake Lively for a really long time. I talked about it a lot last year. It was very stressful to me. It was very stressful to me because situations where society shows me that we're flawed and doomed is like it's earth-shattering to me. Little side anecdote. I don't like thriller movies. I don't like horror movies. I don't like any of those movies. I don't like jump scares. And in different periods of my life, people have decided that I'm going to watch these scary movies. I had learned through experience that apparently if I watch a scary movie and no one survives, none of the like good guys survive in this movie, I have a panic attack. So I learned that from Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning, and then I learned that from Final Destination 3. I just can't make it through. I don't know what it is. It literally gives me a panic attack when things show me that society is really flawed and that there isn't good in humanity. I can't handle it. And so when I originally read the Blake Lively claim and I read it in its entirety, it was shocking that it happened, although it's not shocking that it happened. And it shouldn't have been shocking the reaction people had to the story. But it was, and it was shocking the reaction that people had to Justin Baldoni and his response. And this is going to lead into me talking about traitors, because one of the most frustrating things is how we will trust a white male over almost anything without any proof, without any understanding. His word to us is just more trusting. And unfortunately, that bites us in the ass a lot. And it's still a thing that I see people do. It's a thing that's happening on traders right now. And you see it where every single time there's a conversation about not trusting Colton, somehow, some way, someone else's name goes up, and people keep leaning into Colton. And that's because they want to be in favor. Like it's such a like unconscious bias and unconscious movement that we make. They want to be in favor, and that they view him as more trustworthy than anybody else. And there was one of the actresses from Bridgerton part the second season came out and said how watching Traders US is a social commentary on how we just do not trust Black and brown people. And it's becoming very clear. And we also don't trust women, and that's very clear even with our political system right now. And so the Blake Lively thing has been really upsetting to me for a really long time. And there have been updates, and I plan on talking about these updates in the next episode of basically Unbothered, just regular. Our next guest is going to be Tremana, and so I'm so excited to talk to her. And I plan on, having a conversation, because recently these text messages were released and they involved Taylor Swift and Blake Lively. And some of them, the more emotional ones, were really sad, because what you get to see is you get to see two women navigating a very difficult situation that they did not create, and how it affects their friendship, because both women are suffering in some way. And one woman becomes hypervigilant, like we're talking about me. One woman becomes hypervigilant in her fear, and she stops talking to her friend as her friend. And that's really sad to see. And I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. I've said that so many times. I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. But the conversation was really sweet. It was. And to hear it discussed plainly and blatantly and say, "Hey, you're going through stuff. I get it." And it's really sad to see that released, which is such a private moment. And for people to kind of still question everything, because no one thought those text messages were going to see the light of day. And you can clearly see the discussion about how affected Blake Lively is with the storm that's going around, that she can't even talk to her best friend. And to me, that's really sad. And it's something that I'm working through right now as a woman who is a survivor of many different things. Is the feeling like you always have to be on guard, and the feeling like no matter what you say, someone's gonna take your words and they're gonna twist it around. And I feel like that every day. And watching that play out has been really hard. But like I said, we're gonna talk a little bit more about those text messages and some of the more hilarious things that I personally think are funny. People don't like it when you call a male a bitch, which is ironic, because men don't have a problem calling women the B word. No, they don't. I literally had to check somebody at the bar the other day. They have zero problems calling a woman that. But as soon as a woman fixes her mouth to say the B word to a man, they just go, ugh, how dare you? That was so mean. It's like, if you equality, motherfucker, equality. If you can do it, I can do it too. Isn't that what that's all about? Isn't that what you're saying that you want it, right? No, okay. I don't understand why we go up in arms for referring to a man the same way we refer to a woman. If you don't want to be referred to that way, don't refer to anybody else that way. That's what I'm gonna say now. We'll talk about it next time. As far as new things coming out, I want to watch I want to watch Hilary Duff's music video. I'm sorry. I promise. I'm gonna watch it. It looks really good. The clips that I saw, I didn't really like her makeup going on, but she did. I can't. I want to talk about it, but I can't, because that's another topic for the next week. But I saw the clips. It looks really cool. I don't know how I would feel with water pouring down on me and recording because I imagine you have to do that for hours. No, thank you. But I am excited to see the new music video and listen to the new song. So I'll probably try to hunker down this weekend. Although I have to record two podcasts, but I'll probably try to hunker down this weekend and see if I can grab some more. But those are all the things that I have for you guys. Like I said, it's late. I'm tired. Lo siento. But before we get into talking about Traitors, I do want to talk about how hard it is to watch the show. My mom and I were having a conversation, and she was originally watching the show with me. She's like, I can't do it anymore. And I was telling her how I want to give up and how hard it is to watch this show, and how it's basically showing like a micro, I don't know the correct word, but like a micro ecosystem of what our actual world looks like and how we actually treat each other in this world. And that's really hard to see. I like to watch shows to dissociate. I like to watch shows to not have to think about what's going on in America right now. And this season of Traitors just feels like we're watching. We're like watching what is happening, what is failing in our political system happen in this small show. And we're watching how people can fall for it. And we're watching how people can fall for it. We're watching how how like an unintelligent white male can really ruin a situation. And that to me is what's happening with Traitors. And if you pay attention, most of the Black people are already gone. If you pay attention, no matter how many times they say, oh, we're going to do this, oh, we're going to do this, they never do what they plan because they're always rallied. And there's a thing where a lot of people are trying to be white adjacent or white male adjacent. And it's very visible on the show, and we're going to talk about it, but I'm having a really hard time watching this show. I'm having a really hard time watching the mistakes that we're making out in the world right now be mirrored in this micro ecosystem of a show. But let's get into it. So, last time we finished, Tiffany got kicked off. I'm pissed. And I really didn't know if I was going to watch another episode. It took me forever to watch the second episode that dropped. Oh, before we get into that, they did give us the season, what the episodes are going to look like, what the drops are going to look like. I wish I would have saw this before. So let's go into that. Traitors season 4 episodes. So we got episode 1 through 3. That was the premiere. That one sucked, guys. I was like, what is happening? We had 4 through 5, which was last week, which I also was like, what is happening? We're going to get 6. We got 6 tonight. And then 7th is next week, 8th the week after, 9th, 10th, and then 11th and 12th, which is the finale and the reunion, will be on February 26th. And I'm so excited because it's just a month away from me being done with this show. I'm so done with this show. I was just telling my mom, I cannot wait to get to The Bachelorette. I can't wait. And The Bachelorette new season is going to come out. Let's see, new season March 22, 2026. So we're so close. We're so close. But let's get into Traitors. Quick pause, because if you love dark stories that don't flinch, Olympic War isn't a soft love story. It's violent, it's chosen, and it costs everything. Through war, betrayal, and survival, Moonstone fights for devotion that refuses to die. This is a Black, multicultural dystopian series about power, sacrifice, and what rises from the ashes. Olympic War and Phoenix War. Read them wherever books are sold. So everybody's coming to the table and the kitchen in the morning, and they're really upset and they're really sad, and they're talking about, how sick they are over Tiffany. And, even Eric is expressing his sadness that he did this thing and it cost someone that everybody really likes and everybody really appreciated. And that goes into my other issues, that everybody really liked Tiffany and everybody really appreciated Tiffany and everybody was on team Tiffany. And all it took was one white male to say something. And then all of a sudden, everybody was off Tiffany. And so that was my issue. I still have an issue with it. It's still a problem. But we're talking about who our victims are going to be. So the victims that were up for murder were Monet, Steven, Tara, Lisa, Michael, Jam Jam, Ron, Mora, and Johnny. And so while they're waiting, the talks about getting Ron gone are floating around, and I'm like, yes, let's get Ron gone. Also, WTF is Ron wearing? This orange jacket with his corduroy sweater and these green pants. You could tell he's trying. You can tell he's trying. Like, you can honestly tell he's trying. And everyone shows up fashionable for the most part. And he is just very lacking in that. But then Colton walks in and he's in this, it's horrendous. It's giving frat boy and not in a good way. He walks in with a sleeveless sweater and it's just like, I can't. And then Rob walks in with the overalls and everyone's like, oh, Ron in his overalls. I feel like you guys did not watch Love Island. I feel like you guys just did not watch Love Island. Ron was not the good guy. Just saying, not the good guy. Sorry, Ron. Rob was not the good guy. And also, if you pay attention, Rob was the one that went against the women of color. As I just need that to be, and like, okay. Anyways, so we're still waiting to figure out who's, coming. And Kristen starts talking about how Colton has been running his mouth. Colton has been running his mouth and everybody's been listening and it keeps getting them screwed up. And I'm like, yes, Kristen, you are catching on and I love this. I need more people to be this smart. My feelings is that there's a secret trader and that is Colton because he's just moving so fucking bizarre and weird and it's so annoying and it's so triggering. And if you've never had to experience this, I love that for you. But if you had to experience being put in a situation where there's a white male that's just like gunning for you and that comes out the gate and he's completely wrong, but he's so sure of himself and he exudes this confidence that even though his reasons don't always make a lot of sense, he still does it. And he does it recklessly. Like they asked him, are you gonna back down now because what you did for Tiffany? And he's like, no, I'm just gonna keep taking shots. If I miss some, that's okay. I'm gonna keep taking shots. And he doesn't even have like the foresight or the forethought to think that him being wrong affects everybody. He doesn't care about that. I don't say I will never. I try to never call people narcissist, but he is definitely giving off narcissist energy. And it's just too much. And then Ron coming in and now he's on Dorinda. And this is the problem with both Ron and Colton is that they have these ideas of what makes somebody a traitor and they're usually fucking wrong, but they swear to Moses that they are right. And there are other people who need more facts, more information before they make a decision, but these two fucking people just throw it out there and I'm over it. Anyways, more people come in. The last of the people arrive, and I think it was Johnny and Tara, and that is when you realize that Monet is gone. Now, we all knew that Monet was going to be gone because he mentioned Lisa's name and he mentioned it to the wrong person. And that feels really sad. But it also feels really sad because we got another Black person out of there. Out of most of the people that we've gotten rid of, majority of them have been Black. And majority of them have been women. Pay attention. Like, that's what I'm saying. Pay attention to some of those things that are mimicking what we're going through in life right now, because that's why this is so hard to watch. I did love Michael coming in and defending Tiffany and clocking Colton, and Kristen clocking Colton because he needs it. Like, he is just this pretty boy who thinks that nothing can go wrong, which is crazy to me because let me be queer. Let me be queer. Let me be clear. I am a Black queer female in this society. I just named 3 things that are just like pew, pew, pew. Like, I'm just lower and lower on the totem pole. Colton, I can't speak for Colton's struggles coming out or not coming out. I can only speak for how he acts now. And I want to say something because I got into a disagreement with someone on Threads. Being gay does not excuse you from having to be a decent human being. Legitimately. Being gay does not excuse you for having to be a decent human being, nor does it change you into being a decent human being. And you can't always just back somebody by their identity or their orientation or anything like that, because you're going to be backing some terrible people sometimes. And Colton comes off as a really terrible person. And backing him is supporting people who he was probably the person in high school that made fun of gay people. He was probably the person in high school who bullied gay people just to find out later that he was gay. That doesn't excuse what he did, and it doesn't excuse his behavior now. He clearly has an entitlement to his behavior that hasn't changed by him putting himself in a minority category. He still thinks that he is on the top of the world, and he still sees himself as untouchable. And that's a dangerous thought. Colton is a dangerous person because he doesn't think he's ever wrong. He leads without thinking, and people follow it. And if you look at what's happening in the world, and I'm going to keep saying that, if you look at what's happening in the world right now, you will notice that that's what's happening with certain political people that I'm not going to name. People just following along with whatever dumb shit they say, regardless if it's dumb or not. Anyways, we're getting into the mission. So this mission today is statue retrieval. So we're by a pond and they need to retrieve statues. But to retrieve these statues that are like all over the field, lawn, acres, whatever, farm, almost castle grounds. There we go. All in the castle grounds. They have to dig in this dirty pond water to find these coins. And on these coins, it'll tell them where to go to find these statues. Once again, Colton proves that he just doesn't care about anyone, and he's just not a gentleman. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, on top of that, on their way, they could find shields. And if they find a shield, they can be protected. But if nobody grabs a shield, there are no murders. No murders in the building. So now everyone's kind of just up in the air. They start digging around. Candace, I'm dying. I'm dying with Candace because she's standing on the outside and they're like, Candace, you got to get in. And she's freaking out about the water and says, if I get into this water, I could get a yeast infection. Who's going to take care of my coochie? I need Candace to stay because she's one of the only funny ones left. And I criticized her outfit, and I don't always love her outfits, but she is funny and she's good TV, and I love just listening to her. But they get coins, and here's one of the things you pay attention again. They get coins, and the team that's with Colton starts running ahead of them, and someone has to say, hey, Colton, let's wait for the ladies. And this, again, is one of my problems. You cannot change just because you changed how you represent yourself doesn't mean you change who you are. And Caitlyn Jenner is a perfect example of that. Just because you change how you represent yourself doesn't mean you change who you are inherently. And Colton inherently cares about just himself. That's it. Even when they say he doesn't have a gentleman thought, period. To be like, oh, let me wait for the rest, not even just the ladies. Let me wait for the rest of my team members. Let me not just go off. Because guess what? You can't carry it by yourself, Colton. But you still are focused on yourself because what Colton wants to do is find a shield first without getting caught. Because he said that he told himself and everyone else that if there was any opportunity to get a shield, he was going to get it. So everybody's running around. They're digging in the water. I can't stand, like, most of my notes are, I can't stand Colton. I can't stand Colton. But I was so excited because our boy Johnny got a coin, and he's not been doing well in these challenges. He has not been doing that well in these challenges. And so to see him get a coin was just beautiful. We get to the last two statues, the last two of the four, they split up into four groups, start going out for them. And then all of a sudden they lift the statues and there's been like little gates and there's hold hid shields. All of a sudden the last two have 4 shields left, which means that each person in this group, if they took one, they would be safe. And there's this whole debate about it. And in my brain, I'm thinking, y'all got like 2 minutes left. Why are y'all spending the time debating? And they're like, hold on. Let's take a second. No. Y'all, because if they don't all get the shields there, then they get no money. And y'all selfishness is to debate about whether to take a shield. And y'all are gonna greed. Let me tell y'all, greed is a 7 deadly sin. It'll get you. It'll get you every time. You're so worried about being greed and like taking care of yourself that you're missing getting the opportunity. Like you're missing another opportunity. Mm-mm. Mm. Anyways, they do make it last second, very TV show-esque, right? Whatever. Fake blood starts pouring out of this. And then I'm just like, yes, we dine. But whatever, they get back. Ron's still going for Dorinda. And I'm starting to think that these, this is such a mean thing. I know that this game is not meant to be easy, but these people are dumb. These people are just dumb. And everyone's pissed off at Michael now. And Colton he's thinking he's so smart for coming for Michael. And Michael just keeps defending Tiffany. And if you pay attention, Michael's personality is what people might consider what people expect Black people's personalities to be like. And it rubs people the wrong way. And as we have already shown, they're getting rid of a lot of the Black people on this show. And I'm not saying, I want to be clear, I'm not saying that all these people are racist. I'm saying that we all live in a world that has created unconscious biases for us. And unless we work hard to break up those biases and to understand those biases and to overcome those biases, they will continue to rule us and we will continue to fail as a society. And that shows here when they literally don't know what to do and they're just throwing stuff out there. And Colton starts attacking Michael and be like, it's you. And if I remember correctly, he goes, so I wonder, does Alan have the same clothes on in the turret that he does during the day? And Michael looks at him. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. He says, oh, you stuttered. You must know. And he's so unintelligent. He thinks that and this is a problem. He could be very smart, but he thinks he's smarter than he actually is. And that is the thing that's going to get him choked up in the end, is that he thinks he's playing this game. And he's not even playing a really good. This man's never played Clue a day in his life, guys. He's never picked up a murder mystery a day in his life. He just thinks that if he can like shoot out these arrows, it'll choke someone up. Don't play poker. That's all I'm gonna say. But I love that Michael is defending himself in every room that Colton goes into. He just comes back and gives it to Colton. Y'all may say whatever y'all want about Michael. Michael's hilarious. But I also wrote that watching Colton is like watching what's going on in America personified, and he's very triggering. And it's kind of scary, and it's one of the reasons why I don't want to watch it. Because the more that I see it, and the more I watch people nod their heads and agree with him, I can't do it. But anyways, we get to our round table. And once again, Colton is doing the same thing he was doing with Tiffany, and he's just so wrong, and he just doesn't understand. And it's so frustrating. And they're coming for Michael, and Michael is defending himself, and he says, and you're so sneaky. And I want everybody to rewind that. Because there's and I made another note. Hold on. I made another note because it was really important. So they called out Colton. They mentioned that Colton went on The Bachelor and he was straight presenting, and he went on The Bachelor and dated women. And I don't know why that's not like, let me keep it to myself. Anyways, and he said something at that time about how he didn't know. And I want that to be important because when we go back to watching the round table, that's not what he says. Now, all of a sudden, he says something else, and then someone else defends him and says he was forced into the closet. But what frustrates me is that Michael calls him out for being sneaky because he's been sneaky from day one. And no one really says anything until they all wait. This is frustrating. They all wait to see what Colton says. And Colton starts playing the victim immediately. And he starts putting words in Michael's mouth. Oh, is it here we are? And he's the one who says it's because he's gay. And Michael immediately goes, no, that's not what I'm saying. And then Colton then goes into playing the victim and then deflecting and then putting it back on him. And then everybody starts defending him. And it's frustrating because nobody defended Tiffany that way. Nobody defended Monet that way. But for some reason, a gay white male, y'all are just like, yes, let's defend him to the earth's end. Y'all didn't give that to a black woman, though. Don't black women deserve that same thing? You guys don't think so. And that's the other thing. And he starts deflecting and he starts blaming other people with Tiffany. He says, I wasn't the one who put Tiffany in my ear. But guys, if you pay attention, actually, last episode, you were the one who mentioned it. You were the first person who started the Tiffany train and got everybody along. But once again, you're deflecting and being like, no, it wasn't me. I'm the victim. I'm just so innocent. Look at me. I have baby blue eyes. Anyways, he's just, it's frustrating. They get Michael out. I love that he's just so happy knowing that they screwed themselves. It brings me joy. I love the way he went out. Go out like a king, Michael. I know that you did it. I truly know that you weren't coming for him in that way. That's just not who you are. And you say things in the heat of the moment. But what people put intentionality into what you're saying, what he's saying isn't really what he's saying. You guys are just putting intention. You're filling in his words with what you want them to mean, not actually what he's saying. And that happens a lot to people who are Black adjacent. You are filling in what you feel like he's saying or what you want him to be saying and not what he's actually saying. And no matter how many times he said that's not what I meant, that's not what I meant. Even in his last thing, he said, I was talking about how Colton is playing the game here. And Colton is playing the sneakiest, side-eyest game here. He is the most untrustworthy person. He will backstab anybody. And he's shown that in the missions. He's shown that in how he talks to people, everything. Anyways, my favorite part of this was them catching on to Colton and them starting to be like, yeah, Colton has to go. And I'm like, fucking finally. Yes, Colton has to go. I'm so glad that we finally came to this conclusion because you should have been here a long freaking time ago. But c'est la vie. Last thing about this episode, Rob having an alliance with Colton is suspect. It's suspect. It's not, y'all, it's not giving what y'all think it's giving. It's really suspect. Anybody having an alliance with Colton right now is really suspect. And the way that he got self-congratulatory hugs and be like, oh, I'm so sorry, man. Oh, Michael had to go because of the way he treated you was just too much. Anyways, we get into the next episode. And the next episode I've named Cabin in the Woods. Also, before I go, last shout out to the murder shirt that Alan was wearing. And for him to say sashay away. If you guys don't know what sashay away is, you are not a RuPaul drag team fan. Anyways, sashay away. Okay, we get into Cabin in the Woods, which is what I named it. And they're trying to see if someone's got murdered. Because remember, last episode, if no one got the shields, no murder was going to happen. And then, drum roll, no one grabs the shield. And I loved it. Johnny's hat that he was wearing today, because we always got to start with fashion because it's a fashion show. Johnny's hat that he was wearing today was everything. And also Kristen, I think it was Kristen, clocking that if they get 8 faithfuls on their side, they can control the game, which is so smart. That's how you're supposed to be playing this game. That's where you're supposed to be. It's just whatever. Alan comes in and the most Hunger Games outfit that I've ever seen, and I was like, yes, Hunger Games. I love the Hunger Games. I watched all the movies. I read all the books. I loved it. But then we still have Colton. We still have Colton here, and he's just so freaking manipulative. I literally wrote, Colton is a manipulative fuck. He is. But I actually start to feel bad. For Ron when he starts talking about how he knows it's going to be him. He understands that and he accepts it. He has been so irritating to me during this show, but that moment was very humanizing for me, and I really appreciated it because it was sad to see. Also, you know what? Everybody, including my girl Tiffany, has been guessing these traitors so wrong, but Johnny is on another level because Johnny's naming the people that he feels like he can trust the most, and he has 2 traitors on his list. And I get it. I would trust them too. They're fun. They're fun. I love them. But I also wrote, someone get Colton off my screen, and Michael was right. He's so secretive. He is. It's so weird. Even when he tells everybody he wants to go for Lisa, but then when he's talking to Lisa, he's like, I'm going for Ron. And then he's like, I'm playing the long game and I'm gonna go for Lisa next time. And it's just, dude, you say that you're 100, but you are so far from 100, you're 0. Like, it's whatever. We get into the mission, and I hate this mission. I hate this mission. I hate this mission. I've said it. I don't like horror movies. I don't like them. They scare me. No, thank you. And the fact that this mission is the cabin in the woods, and they gotta be in this little creepy ass cabin in the no, thank you. That would have. I literally wrote nope, nope, nope. Could not. That would be the moment I would be like, ain't gonna have to kick me off the game. Just take me out. I'm done. I can't do this. I couldn't. But anyways, they are gonna sit in this cabin in the woods, and they are going to get clues onto the name of people who are buried in the graveyard. And then once they figure out the clues, the door is going to open. When the doors swing open, 2 players have to run out and stand in front of the graveyard that they think the clue represented. And they get 3K each time. No. So then scary stuff starts happening. There starts to be breaking in a thing, a chainsaw, all of a sudden, and then a Ouija board. And hey, I'm going to be very clear. I don't like when people play with darker magic. As a person who likes to think of themselves as like a green witch, a holistic witch, whatever you want to call it, playing around with magic or making fun of dark magic is just stupid. I'm just going to, it's just dumb. Don't do it. But they start playing around with a fake Ouija board and they spell it out. So the first clue is Louise Black, but somebody said Louise Clark before they got the last thing, and the 2 girls didn't see it. And so they got it wrong. And then this hand shoots up. Oh my God, from the dirt. No. Couldn't do it. All right. Then the next one is the blood running down the wall. And there's a name, and it's Jack Stone. And then they run out to get it again. And then there's a box of bugs, and it's and they couldn't figure it out because the box of bugs left the typewriter, and it was Riddle. Honestly, guys, I bet Riddle would have been unsolved. Then I guessed the wrong person, so I would have been wrong. But to get to the blood on the wall, there was like a girl screaming, and I was like, I said, yeah, no, fuck this. I could not. Then there was a clown, absolutely not, and a doll, absolutely not. And they got Birdie Singh, and everybody else got the rest of the money. They're all so happy. But they didn't get all of it. They only got 15 grand. But then you start seeing something else. Apparently, Rob is catching feelings. Y'all say men aren't emotional. Y'all say this. I've seen more emotions come from men on this show than from the women. Rob catching feelings and not getting rid of Ron, even though that's the plan of the traitors, is just, I get it. I get it that you want to be loyal to your friends. But this is a game, and you are a traitor, and your other traitors have betrayed their friends, but all of a sudden you can't do it. Rob is starting to be on my baby down shit list. So all of a sudden, Rob decides he wants to try to save Ron. And they mentioned this earlier on the bus when they were going there, and they were talking about, Colton was talking about how he thinks it's Lisa, and Rob goes, it's plausible. That didn't bug me that much. But once again, I told you this Rob Colton alliance is really weird and also very echoing of what's going on in our world. The fact that you wouldn't have these intelligent, beautiful women who have had your back, and you're going to pick a white male over them is a wild take. So, here we go. We get to the round table. And once again, now the beautiful thing is that people are starting to come into this circle, right? And they're like, we need to get rid of Colton. And I'm like, yes, fucking finally. And here's the reason why these people are so stupid. They get to these tables and they just lose sight of their goal. And what made me really sad was when Ron's name came up. So Colton has already said that he already told Lisa, I'm not going for you tonight. He told us viewers, not again, secretive. He said, I'm not going for them tonight. And then all of a sudden, people start talking about Ron, and Ron made me feel for him, and he was very redeeming, and he was making really good points. And I was like, damn, now I don't want him to go. Now I kind of like him, but I don't want him to leave. But him going around the table, and this is such a weird thing. It's such a weird thing for you to go against your humanity. It happened with Tiffany. They went against their humanity with Tiffany. They saw her pleading and being as open and honest as she could, and they went against that. And their goal was to get Colton gone. And as soon as Ron shows his humanity, as soon as he goes around the table and says all these nice things about everybody at the table, and everyone's like, I don't think it's Ron. I don't think it's Ron. Yet still, at the end of the day, they vote for Ron. Colton tries to get favor with the group again, which is why I feel like he's moving like a traitor. And if he's not another secret traitor, he's just really bad at this game, because he tries to gain favor with the group again. And I don't know if maybe he's just looking for acceptance or whatever, but he tries to gain favor with the group again. And all of a sudden, when everybody starts talking about how much they like Ron, he goes, Lisa, but Colton, you're not secretive, but didn't you just say you weren't going to do that? And all of a sudden, you're keeping a secret back. Okay, all right. And then they start getting on Lisa. And Rob is playing a dangerous game, and he's aligning himself with someone who's self-righteous, and that's very, very dangerous. And a lot of these people are trying to become white adjacent and white male adjacent, and Rob is trying to solidify his place by joining next to someone who looks like him. And the fact that that's the person he has an alliance with, not Maura, but Colton, is really telling. They start voting, and the votes were coming in for Colton at first, and then it was between Lisa and Ron, which is, again, y'all went in with the plan. You guys have to be the dumbest people to. If this is how this game is played, you guys are dumb. Never play a murder mystery with me ever in life. This is stupid. They vote Ron off. It was really sad. You realize that outside of a traitor, they have gotten rid of all of the Black people, all of them. And that's kind of really crazy and sad to think about. All of them. Whatever. They leave. We hear that we're going to have this banquet in the hall, and everyone's like, oh, this is going to be a trap. This is going to be a trap. And oh, it is. I can't wait to see this amulet touching thing. That's going to be exciting. But I want to end on this note. When they leave, some people go, well, Lisa, you can see how we would have picked you, because Colton's big point about Lisa was that she wasn't acting like a housewife, like the housewife that she acts like on the show. And to be very clear, most of those reality TV shows are meant to be inflammatory, and a lot of those people amp up their emotions, and that's not actually how they would act in real life, but you act like that on the show. And you're seeing, when you watch these reality TV shows, and they talk about this on Keeping Up with the Kardashians too, or the Kardashians, when you watch the reality TV show, you're seeing very small pockets and moments that they have chosen because they know that violence and argument and anger and conflict is going to be the thing that draws people in to showcase to you. And so Colton's argument that Lisa isn't being the persona that she was on The Housewife, I'm not saying obviously, guys, we know he's not wrong about Lisa. But once again, he stumbled onto her on some stupid fucking thought process that literally makes no sense. And I loved Lisa clocking him and saying, I'm Lisa motherfucking Rinna, right? I was Lisa motherfucking Rinna before Housewives, and I'm gonna be Lisa motherfucking Rinna after Housewife. I've been in this business for 36 years, and you don't think that I can be anybody but a housewife is insane. And you thinking that I have to live up to this identity that you've created for me, and if I am not this person, then you think I'm untrustworthy, is wild. You could be more things. And it's weird that Colton doesn't want anyone to make assumptions about him, but he does it to everybody else all the time. And they're not assumptions about the way that they're moving or Lisa's being quiet a lot of people are playing quiet. A lot of people who normally wouldn't play quiet are playing quiet because they're coming in with a game strategy. Freaking Tara and Johnny are best friends. They were so cute when they were sitting on each other's lap and hugging each other. But freaking Tara and Johnny are best friends. And they're playing quiet. They're hiding that. But again, there's just this misogynistic this he has a lot of issues to work out in himself. The belief that Lisa can only be one thing and that's it. And I fucking love Lisa for clocking him for that. And just I'm team traders now, but Rob is losing me. So who I'm not feeling this week, I'm not feeling Colton, obviously. I'm not feeling Jam Jam. He's pointless at this point. Like him being there is just kind of like he just kind of like stirs up trouble and it's just kind of quite annoying to me. I'm not a fan of Eric simply because of Tiffany still. Like you don't get a pass just because for 2 days it's been 2 days. No. And Rob is on my shit list because you don't betray your team. You just don't. Your real team is the traitors. Your real team isn't your alliance that you had with Colton. And you thinking that it looks really weird that you went against Colton, nobody would have thought that was weird because everybody wanted Colton gone. That being said, let me tell you how excited I am that there is one episode next week and I don't have to be up till midnight. I can get some sleep. I got so much stuff to do in the morning. And more importantly, let me tell you how happy I am that we are a month away from this being over and that we can get off of this parade. Hopefully it gets better, but we'll see. Next episode looks like it's going to be explosive and fighting and arguing. And I hope Colton leaves. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for joining me for Basically Unbothered Recap. Please don't forget to subscribe, to like. If you're sitting in your car, please don't do that right now, but remember to do it when you're home. And regardless, if you're sitting in your car, if you're in your office, if you're cooking, like I do when I listen to podcasts, I hope that I could make this experience just a little better for you, whatever you guys are doing. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Pure Tifa Podcast.